Go around. Hi, everybody. Thank you for staying and listening. My name is Susie. I'm from St. Mary's Church in Los Angeles, and I want to tell you about a new service within the diocese. It's a foster care agency. It's called the Good Shepherd. And hi, Marianne. Hi, everybody. Hi, Michael and Jamie. And the diocese, about 3 or 4 years ago, became licensed as a foster care agency. And we're going to go through, the presentation is probably less than 10 minutes, but we'll just go through what this service does. How many would like to hear a presentation in Arabic? Anyone need Arabic? Just one person? Okay. So, okay, then we'll skip Sayyidna's talk and start here. So under Bishop Abraham, we started a foster care agency. It's under the Diaconia service that he oversees. And the Diaconia includes a lot of things. It includes the missionary work that's being done. It includes foster care, and it includes the prison service. And let's see, I can't read because my contact lenses don't let me, and I need bifocals. So here we go, guys. There was a need within our community. Usually, I'm licensed to foster within Los Angeles County, and usually our people, the Arab community as we're referred to, and the Asian community generally don't give their kids into foster care. Okay, because usually in our culture, as you can imagine, you give the child to an aunt or a relative, some family member that can take care of them. And that's the tradition within our culture and Asian culture. But we came to find that more children from our community were being taken into child protective services. And so Sayyidna decided that those children should be able to go to Coptic families as well. And so he started this service. Oh yeah, that would be amazing, thank you. I was gonna ask, but. Okay, all right, do I press something while it's on? Hello? Hello? Oh yeah, okay, fantastic. You know what's even better is, if I didn't have to put it in this. Okay, I am gonna carry this out of here because I am just more comfortable walking around. So about me, I'm Susie. I got involved in the service because I had already decided for myself that I would like to foster children. I do not have children. I have never been married. And so this was an opportunity for me in becoming licensed to care for a child, which I still feel like I want to care for a child. I've never personally felt like, this is a little bit of oversharing, that the child needed to be biologically mine, and so I felt like, well, it might be a calling to take care of a child who doesn't have a family. And so when I learned that the diocese was doing this, I said, I think this service is for me. So then I went and got recertified through the Good Shepherd. And so what I'm doing is I'm going around to all of the churches and asking for people to be open to fostering children, and also for, of course, donations. And so, of course, the more children we place, the more that we're self-supporting, but we're just starting. We have all the administrative things in place, licensing and all of the above, but we have children coming in every day. Every day, there are children that are coming through the system that need some sort of place to stay, whether it's for a couple of nights, up to a year, maybe even 2 years, depending, and they range in ages from newborn, infant, to age 20. You can foster up to the age of 21, okay? So basically, if anyone, that was a law that was extended in case people wanted to help a young person through university. And then, do folks know the difference between fostering and adoption? Okay, let me tell you real quick. The difference between fostering and adoption is fostering is temporary. The goal of fostering is to reunite the child with their biological family, okay? And so what kinds of situations occur. There might be a parent who who has been ordered to go to prison. Okay? There might be a parent who is sick, a single parent. We have a woman who is a single mother of 2. Both children are autistic, and she is going to have surgery, so she can't take care of her 2 children. As you know, it takes a great deal of effort to look after 2 children who are on the spectrum, I know, or who are atypical. I don't know what the word is now, but who are on the autism spectrum. That's okay? Okay. And then adoption, of course, is long-term. That's when the child, you adopt them, they become part of your family. You can change their last name if both of you wish, and they just become a part of your family. And so that's the difference between foster and adoption, which means you do have to be prepared as a foster parent that at any time the biological parent could want to reunite, or a family member, a close family member could want to take the child back and care for them. And so, it does require some measure of, can I handle a child coming into the home and then being removed? Yeah, that's a great question. Henry was asking, can a foster become adopted? Yes. So what will happen is sometimes the parent will decide that they do not want to be reunited, and the child will become foster to adopt. And then the family that has the child can decide if they want to adopt them, or we have a list of families that would like to adopt. We have almost 20 families that are seeking to adopt from our community that want to adopt. And so we do have a list. If a child is unable to be reunited for whatever reason, then some families, they decide that they're just unfit. They can't. Either they have addictions that are going on for too long that they can't get over, or they simply sometimes just have more kids than they can take care of, and they're unable to care for the child. So does anyone have any questions before I move on about the system? Hi, Mary.
Oh, thank you, Henny. You said that there are kids coming in every day. When you say every day, do you mean into this specific, foster?
That's a great question. No.
Oh.
What I mean is, so I should probably tell you how this is set up. There are many different institutions that are certified to take in and place children into foster care. So thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are on top of it at this church. I also just realized that I shared personal things that are going to be streaming, but that's okay. I was going to say, we can keep it between us, but it's already done.
And the
internet. If anyone feels like I do, you're welcome to join us. And so there are different churches within many sects and within the denominations of Christianity that do it. There are independent institutions that also can place children. So what we mean is, once an institution is certified to place a child, what will happen is you're now connected. The institutions are connected to the Department of Child and Family Services. We're currently certified with Orange County, Riverside. Riverside. We are not with Los Angeles yet. And San Bernardino, thank you. Los Angeles, not yet. It's a much more complicated system. Very excited. And so what will happen is, now that we're connected to the system, every time a child is taken in by Child Protective Services, DCFS will send out an email saying, we have children. And then the certified institutions will look at their list of people who are willing to be foster parents and will send out an email saying, hi, we have children this age, this gender, they need a home. Some of them are respite, which means they're just going to be with you for a short break, okay? That could be a couple of nights, it could be longer. Some children could be with you for up to 2 years. It just depends on their situation. But for you, if you are interested in fostering, what it would require is, it takes 2 to 3 months, okay? And you will have to get certified, meaning you'll have to take classes online through the Good Shepherd, and then there will be a background check of you, of course, and also they'll come to your home. They'll do a site visit to your home to make sure that it's orderly and safe. Okay, if a child is between 0 and 2, they can be in the same room as you. You can have a crib or a small bed in your room. Otherwise, above the age of 2, they need their own room. Okay, and so also to come check that what you say is available in your home is true, and that again, it's not a neglected environment, food in the fridge, all of these things. Okay, before a child is placed with you, and that background check and site visit and taking the classes can take 2 to 3 months. Okay? And you can request how many children you can take in, what age you want them to be, and what gender you want them to be. And we'll always ask anyway if something is urgent, if you are open to siblings. The goal is to not separate siblings, okay, but to keep them together because that's the only person that the child has at that time, okay? And so, so the Department of Social Services, this is through the state. I'm sorry, I said through the county, but this is administered, the certification, through the state and then by county.
I have a clarifying question.
Sure.
You said that there's a list of people whose desire is to adopt. Is that like, if you know that the child's parents are not going to reunify beforehand, then you would classify that child as one who's foster to adopt, like right away, or?
No, that's a really good question. Good job, Marianne and Tony. You are reminding me of things we need to add to this presentation. So, no, these are parents where they know that, and I will now tell you, we are in the process of being certified also as an adoption agency. And so, when we're able to take in children that we know are just up for adoption, the parents have given up their right to the child, then we can place them, we can go through the adoption process with the family who wants to adopt the child. And also, there was one more thing. Oh yes, so we're also going to be looking at, once we are licensed as an adoption agency, we're going to be looking at creating partnerships with like the Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Services so that we can take in also Arab children who are refugees and here on asylum. So any children that are Syrian, Iraqi, from all of these countries, so that they can be placed in a family or in a home where there's at least cultural familiarity, someone speaks their language, but we don't have them through the foster care system yet. And that is really due to what the population and demographic of the county is. We generally don't have, the majority that we have are Black, white, and Hispanic. And then you get into, maybe some other cultures. But maybe, if we were in Michigan, Dearborn, Michigan, where there's a high population of Arab Americans, then you might find more in the system. I don't know. But for us, for our foster care system, it's whoever is the majority in the population. And you can request a certain ethnicity as well. You can say, I want to help this kind of a child, and then when a child comes through, we can let you know. All right, this is, I am not sure. Yes, community care licensing, I told you about that.
Can I ask a question, Susie?
Yes, Henry, please do.
For terms of faith, does that play a role at all? Does it have to be the same faith or it doesn't?
It is preferable that it be the same faith, but if we can't, the priority is always to just get the child into a home that is safe and can take care of them. Of course, we don't do this, and no one can really just outwardly proselytize, but if you care for a child and they're in a Christian home, and if they want to come to church with you, they can. Of course, if a child, too, by the way, is of school age, you will be required as a foster parent to take them to school and to any doctor's visits I do want to tell you also that the state has set a certain amount that you're given as a foster parent to help take care of the child, to help take care of the needs of the child. And every child is given Medicaid. So in our state, Medi-Cal, because we're clever. And you will have to take the child, if they have to go to the doctor, you will need to take them to the doctor. But all of these things are covered within Medi-Cal and the stipend that the foster family is given each week. I believe it's ranked into 1 through 4, 4 being the highest. The first level is $1,300 a month, so that you can buy school supplies for the child or diapers if they're not in school yet, clothes, food, whatever is needed to support the child in your home, right? And we do have a physical office that's been set up, and it is in Rancho Cucamonga. You don't ever have to go to the office, but just letting you know that we have, I haven't. God bless Mina Yusuf, he has been working on this for 3 years, and we have an office, and with the support of the diocese, by the grace of God, we do have a physical office, and we do have 2 people who are full-time employees, paid employees. One is a social worker, Cecilia, who goes and does the home visits and also checks on the children. And we have another person who makes the calls to follow up with people who want to be foster parents. So, and Mina is there every day. So you do have a staff that's there in the office to answer questions and to help you with whatever the needs are, filling out the application, taking the classes when it comes time. All right, so yes, here are the counties that we are registered with. Good thing, it is Orange County, Riverside, and San Bernardino. So thank you. We're in the process with LA County, but again, LA County, as you can imagine, is a longer, more complicated process. All right, let's see. Oh, so this is just an example of a fraction of the emails that we get in a day. And if they are highlighted in any part, usually they're urgent. The children have just been taken in that night, that day, and need to be placed immediately. So if you're someone who can take a child immediately, like, hey, can you come after work and pick one up? You might get that kind of call if you're open to it, okay? And you would get the child the same day. There are some foster parents that came to speak to us when I was being certified. I actually got my certificate on the day that Kobe Bryant died. So it's unfortunate. So we all found out about Kobe and we're like, oh my God, and then it was like, oh wait, the children. And so got the certificate, but there were foster parents who have been, they're angels. They have taken in so many children and given them a home and then, reunited them. And they had said that sometimes the system becomes so familiar with you that you'll go to the police station and pick up the children. Sometimes you will be asked to do that. So we've got all of this to say is it really requires kind of an internal check and with your spouse or partner, if you have one, and just saying like, hey, is this something that we can do? And there are people from our community who do foster, but through different institutions. Since we just received our certification, of course, these are all the reasons why a child might enter into foster care. There's some general neglect. There's sometimes severe neglect, drugs, domestic violence, crime or imprisonment, physical abuse, sexual abuse, an absent parent or an incapable parent for whatever reason. The parent is unable. And so I just told you about that, about the agency. Told you about the journey. You'd go through a pre-orientation, fill out the application. There would be a background clearance. There will be fingerprints. Then there's a training courses that you would do online, a home inspection, and then you would be certified, and then we would start the matching process until there is a child that fits what you're capable of doing, and then we will place them within, with your family. So here are some of the, questions that most people have, but let me first ask all of you, are there any other questions so far? Marianne.
So For the Good Shepherd Family Service, on any given occasion, how many Coptic kids are in need, and how many Coptic foster families are there to take them in?
That's an excellent question. Right now, because we've just started, we have just a handful of Coptic children. We do have children that are, and the children are categorized also just within the system itself, and you will get a higher stipend depending on if the child has a disability, right? And so they need more care, and also if the child has behavioral issues, which can start as young as 3, just because they've already been through a lot of abuse. There are some children that will go through 4 homes in a year, maybe more. And so, of course, the more stability that we can give a child as a community and as an institution, a religious institution, of course, the better. We only have a handful of Coptic children. We do have, to be totally frank, and in full disclosure, we do have children whose parents are unable to take care of them, but they don't want to put them through. They don't want to have to go through the system, and we are making it so that it's a requirement because of the liability for the diocese that they will need to go through the system. And that is because anyone who does give up their children to Child Protective Services, it will go on your record. Now, your record will specify why you gave up the child or the child had to go into CPS, and it could be because of medical-related issues, but if it's because abuse or crime, and that's something that's recorded, then, if the parent's already in the system somehow, then it will be stated why that child was given up. But of course, you all can understand that the diocese can't just move around children to different houses within the community because there's a liability there, and we can't guarantee the child's experience in every home. So we still have to go through background checks and do our due diligence to make sure that the child is being placed in a good home. So until those families can be made to understand that that's what would need to happen, those children won't be placed just yet with Coptic families. But we do have some, and it's really, a lot of it is that our community comes from countries where there just isn't, in the Arab world, adoption is not common. And in many of our countries, it's totally illegal, like in Egypt. And so, it's just getting everybody used to the idea of how the system works here. I think it's really only Lebanon where you can adopt a child, but you have to be married in a heterosexual marriage, and you have to do it through your religious institution. So Christians do it through the church, Muslims do it through their mosques. Talked about your responsibilities, how long it takes, how many children can you foster, depends on how many open rooms you have in your house. Right? If you've got 2 empty rooms, you're welcome to take 2 kids and maybe even a baby and put them in the room with you. I mean, it just depends. Yes, if they're under 12. Yeah. If they're siblings they can even be like opposite genders, but they need to, or opposite sex, and they can share a room, but only up until a certain age. I think it's 12, and then you have to give them their own rooms. But if it's like 2 boys or 2 girls, they can share a room also up until a certain age. And we do have some wonderful, wonderful Coptic families that already have children, that have taken in foster children and really integrated them into the family, and they come to church and they play with the kids, and the kids treat them as their own. And I was hoping that that George could be here to talk about that. He and his wife have been doing just an extraordinary, extraordinary job. God bless them. And we told you about the qualifications. Let's see, any other? If you are unable as a foster parent to continue care for the child, you can always just give us a call and let us know. For whatever reason, I can no longer, have the child in the house. Can you go on vacation? You can, as long as it's within the state of California. You cannot take them outside of the state of California. It's the same as, if families that are divorced, you do have to have the permission of the other parent to cross state lines. So this is a legality. You can't just take a human being across state lines. Whether they're alive or a coffin, you have to have permission to take any human across state lines. How long do children stay in foster care? Some their whole lives. Some have spent their whole lives in foster care and have gone from home to home. That's why it's so important to give them stability. Some of the stats that we were given in LA County is that almost 97% of the children who spend their whole lives in foster care do not finish high school. And they do end up with, many of them, homeless or addicted. And so if we can give an opportunity for children to, to thrive, to have some sort of chance in this world, then we keep them from going from home to home. Did you have a question?
The foster parents, they go through a background check. What about the kids? And I'm talking about teenagers, for example. Do they go through a drug check? Do they go through a mental check?
Yes.
And also, what is available for those youth as far as mental health or psychological health?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. That's a good question. All of the children do have an entire record with the department, and then that's passed to us as the institution, and that's how they are categorized as either having behavioral issues or they have maybe, a disability of any kind. There is an entire record that's maintained of the child, and also if a child needs mental health services, again, everything is covered by Medi-Cal. And so if the child needs to see a therapist, if the child needs physical therapy, if the child needs dental care, it's all covered by Medi-Cal, and you would just need to take the child to their appointments. And so it's really set up, again, from $1,300 is the first reimbursement to $3,000, depending on if you want to take on any children that have higher needs or greater needs. And so that's the presentation. Our big ask, of course, is a lot of people ask how they can help and if they can volunteer. We currently, in terms of volunteering, we currently need people to drive the children from wherever from Child Protective Services, wherever they are, or from the home they're in to their new foster home. We, of course, need donations. So the donations would go towards, of course, the entire system that we have set up. We have several insurance plans that we are required to take out by the state. We also have 2 professionals that we pay in the office. And then there are also services that we offer the children that haven't been placed yet. If they're in a home, then there are things that we also offer them as a church. At some point, we will be doing care packages for the children. As you know, most people prefer a younger child, so there are older children who spend the remainder of their time within foster care, and so we send care packages to them and support to them. So if it's in your heart to donate, we do have categories also of donation for recurring donations. If you want to give recurring donation monthly, we're doing that just until the end of the year because we hope to be self-supporting by the end of the year. We're reimbursed for children placed, but we as an institution, just because we're a Christian institution, do not want to place children just, to get money in return. We want to make sure that this is being done intentionally and that the children are placed properly. And so we need support until we reach that threshold of 15 children that are placed through our agency. And so if you're able to give $100 a month until the end of the year, of course, all of it is tax deductible, or you can choose to make a flat donation, or if you can't do 100 and need to do less. And of course, we're happy to take larger recurring donations. I saw that we don't have an icon yet of Christ, the Good Shepherd, in the office, and I saw that you have a beautiful one gift shop if someone would like to donate that. That would be great. We get an icon, the church gets the money. And so that would be very helpful. I really have very little shame in asking for financial support, really, in any job that I do. I work with a lot of nonprofits. So again, if you're able to, I have the QR code. And we'll have the QR code also. We can make it larger, the one in the corner. It's where all of the information is on everything that we've talked about today, and also where you can go to donate. Yeah, Michael. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Thank you, Michael and Janie Girgis. Thank you so much. They're going to be so happy. And also, the 2 women that we have working in the office, they're Christian, but they're not Orthodox, so they're just learning a whole lot about the Orthodox Church. I think they were probably a little shocked to see Bishop Abraham, like, whoo, doesn't look like, bishops we've seen before. So I see that my nephews and all the kids are back out, so unless you all have any questions, Emmanuel, sit down. Any other questions? Okay, then let me see what's here, if there's a larger QR code. And okay, so if there aren't any other questions, thank you all so much for caring and for staying and listening. You can feel free to call the office or to call me if you have any questions. And if God puts it in your heart to take a child, that's really, really what we need in terms of volunteers. More than money, more than anything, is to place some of these children, because their backgrounds are difficult. They're very difficult. Okay, thanks.
Through the intercessions of ever Virgin Theotokos, Mother of God, Saint Mary, Archangel Michael, Saint John the Baptist, Saint John the Beloved, Saint Peter, and Saint Paul, and all your prophets and saints you have pleased do since the beginning, hear us from praise to all thanksgiving. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. But deliver us from the evil one, in Christ Jesus our Lord. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.